My ex wants me to raise the child she had while cheating on me, and her friends won't leave me alone. What should I do? I'm still dealing with the aftermath of a conflict with my ex-girlfriend. Well, called Jane after she cheated on me following 5 years of dating. Jane and I had been childhood friends for as long as I could remember. Never in my life did I think she would betray me or turn out to be someone capable of such a thing. I genuinely believed we had a great relationship, with the usual ups and downs like any couple. About a year ago, I was contacted by a girl I didn't know through social media. Normally, I don't reply to messages from strangers. This girl, who I'll refer to as Sam, sent me a message claiming that Jane was cheating on me. Somehow, she knew about Jane. I asked her to provide any proof she had, and she sent me screenshots of text messages between Jane and her friend, whom I'll call Kevin. The texts were explicit and filled with inappropriate messages I'd rather not describe here. The most shocking part was a message where Jane mentioned being pregnant. At the time, Jane and I had been discussing starting a family, and we were being intimate, always using protection. To say I was furious would be an understatement. Sam also sent me a video of a drunk Kevin admitting that he had been sleeping with Jane without using protection. Sam explained that she had accessed Kevin's phone while it was left unlocked. She wanted to warn me because she didn't want me to have false hopes about being the father of a child that might not even be mine. I thanked her and asked how she found me. She said she came across Jane's social media, which was linked to mine in a post. Jane's social media is public. She doesn't use it much apart from posting about us or shopping. I thanked Sam for warning me and saved all the evidence she sent me, including the video. At the time, Jane was visiting her mom, so I took the opportunity to pack up her belongings and other essentials. Later that day, Jane came home looking all happy and nervous. I had to fake a smile when she shared the news that she was pregnant and hugged me. I told her we should go out to celebrate, and she agreed, completely unaware of what I had planned. I ended up driving her back to her mom's house. She was confused as to why we were there, and I told her to stop pretending. I said I knew about the cheating. She looked like a deer caught in headlights. She tried denying it until I showed her all the screenshots Sam had sent me. Jane broke down and eventually confessed. Betrayal was real. I asked her how long it had been going on. She became hysterical before admitting she'd been seeing Kevin behind my back the past 2 years. I then asked if they had used protection. She admitted they had. I told her it was over and not to contact me again. She lost it, crying even harder when I removed her belongings from my car trunk. She refused to leave the vehicle and begged for another chance. Jane even said she'd consider the A word if it meant staying with me. Her words shocked me. I never thought she'd sink that low. I told her that no matter what she decided, it wouldn't undo the damage she'd caused. I had to involve Jane's mom, explaining the situation and showing her the evidence, as well as the recorded conversation. Jane's mom apologized for her daughter's actions, and after some time, Jane finally got out of my car. I drove off without looking back, refusing to give her another chance. When I got home, I broke down, couldn't eat or sleep, and this cycle repeated for months. It's been almost a year now, and I've mostly recovered from the ordeal, though the scars remain. 2 weeks ago, Jane messaged me for the first time since the breakup, asking to get back together. I said no and blocked her. A few days ago, Jane showed up at my door. I won't lie, she looked like a complete mess on my doorbell camera. She begged to talk to me. I didn't let her in, but asked what she wanted. Jane said Kevin had abandoned her shortly after she gave birth, and no one knows where he is. She asked for my help, saying she hadn't slept and was basically alone. Her parents had kicked her out after the baby was born. Jane admitted that cheating on me was her biggest mistake. She said she hated being a single mom and taking care of a baby alone. Then she asked if I would consider raising the child as if it were my own. I got angry and told her to leave. I reminded her that Kevin, the guy she left me for, was her problem now. I told her every ounce of love and respect I had for her died the moment I discovered her betrayal. Jane left in tears. Since then, her friends have been blasting me on social media, calling me a terrible person for not helping her. They claim that even though she made a mistake, she was there for me as I grew up, and it's awful of me not to support her now. What should I do about this situation? I feel guilty because she was there for me in the past, but I can't forgive what she did. What should I do? Hi everyone, this is OP's brother here. I wanted to give you an update about Jane. Sorry for the delay. A lot has happened over the last 2 weeks. I also want to address something many of you pointed out about my brother's Reddit post regarding the birthday party part. Yes, my brother is a bit of an airhead, forgot. He asked me to edit that section of his post after I reminded him he'd once mentioned it in a dream he told me about. So yeah, that was on him. Now, onto the update. Jane found my brother's Reddit post and lost her mind. But before that, she actually tried to leave her affair baby at my brother's doorstep while he was getting ready for work. One morning, my brother opened the door and saw Jane walking away, leaving the baby sound asleep on the ground. My brother was furious. From what he told me, he threatened to call the police if Jane didn't take her child back. Jane begged him to take the baby, but he refused. She eventually left crying. A few days later, I got a call saying my brother was in the hospital. Jane had discovered his Reddit post and completely snapped. My brother told me he was on his way home from McDonald's when Jane drove into him. He didn't have time to react. It happened in the blink of an eye. He remembered hearing her scream at him, posting about the entire incident on Reddit. Somehow, Jane had found the post. Before passing out, my brother said the pain was unbearable. unbearable. We are currently in the process of pursuing legal action against Jane. My brother survived, but ended up with both legs broken. Our mom was hysterical when she saw him in the hospital bed. From what I've heard from family members who visited my brother a few days ago, Jane was arrested after she tried to attack a bystander who had intervened when they saw her with my brother after the incident. About a week ago, Jane's father contacted us and profusely apologized for what she did to my brother. I'm so angry at Jane for hurting him like this. Maybe I should have stayed with my brother when he told us about Jane trying to leave the baby at his door. I am furious and don't even know how to process what I'm feeling right now. My brother is my hero, and I can't stand the fact he got hurt because of this woman who couldn't keep her legs closed. I'm sorry, everyone. This is really hard to see my brother in so much pain.
She wouldn't be trying to get back with you if Kevin hadn't disappeared. You're her last resort, and she's only pushing you to take her back because she's run out of options and is terrified of doing everything on her own. She doesn't love you. She doesn't care about you. If she did, she wouldn't have been sleeping with another guy for 2 years while in a relationship with you. Maybe her friends should step up and help her instead of attacking you on social media and accusing you of not being a real man or refusing to take her back or help raise a child she had with someone else. Someone who was cheating with her for 2 years and then abandoned her. Dude, block all of them, block her and move on. She's not your responsibility. They're not your friends.
Kevin ghosted her shortly after she gave birth, and now no one knows where he is. I told her that it's her problem to deal with and reminded her that Kevin was the man she left me for. She begged me for help, saying she hasn't been sleeping and is basically all alone. Her parents even kicked her out of the house after the baby was born. Jane admitted that cheating on me was the biggest mistake of her life, and she hates being a single mom. She asked me if I was willing to raise her child as if it were my own.
My girlfriend cheated on me with an acquaintance during a vacation and secretly met up with him afterward. I always told myself I would never give a second chance to a cheater, but it's so much easier to say than to actually do. On Sunday, my girlfriend of nearly 4 years admitted to sleeping with a mutual acquaintance during a group holiday involving about a dozen of us. He wasn't a close friend. This was only the second time we'd seen him. First was on another trip 2 years ago with the same group. I thought my girlfriend and I had a solid relationship. I'm a pretty affectionate person. She's not as much, partly due to her struggles with low self-esteem, which makes her uncomfortable expressing herself in that way. While she's confident and outgoing with friends, she doesn't see the good qualities others see in her. The trip happened about 3 weeks ago. Over the last few weeks, she had been quiet and withdrawn, and we hadn't been physically intimate. I had attributed it to the usual January blues and a recent change in her contraceptive pill. On Sunday, we were intimate for the first time in a month. I could tell she wasn't happy afterward. I confronted her, asking what was wrong. After some hesitation, she admitted she kissed this guy during the trip. When I pressed her for the truth, she confessed to sleeping with him and kissing him again the following night. I was in complete shock and didn't know how to process my feelings. That night, my girlfriend was very upfront and answered all my questions honestly, which I appreciated. On the night it all started, she was very drunk. We both agree that while alcohol lowers inhibitions, it doesn't absolve someone of responsibility for their choices. We had just returned to the Airbnb after a night out, walking as a group. At some point, he kissed her briefly, and no one noticed. Once we were all back at the apartment, partying continued. At some stage, they ended up in a bathroom together and slept together. It wasn't immediately after entering the apartment, and I didn't ask who initiated it. That was hard to hear, but what hurt even more was what happened the next evening. I had noticed unsettling vibes from him toward her throughout the trip. He's single, good-looking, and quite forward. My girlfriend is very attractive, doesn't realize it, so I'm used to guys flirting with her. But this guy was always sitting near her when we went to bars, and it was obvious to me he was interested. That night, quietly told her I felt he was being overly flirtatious and suggested she create some distance between them. I felt guilty for even bringing it up since I'm not usually jealous. I trusted my instincts. She agreed without admitting anything at the time, claiming she hadn't picked up on it herself. Later that night, our group split up fine food. I was fairly drunk at this point and didn't notice she had gone off with him. Even if I had noticed, I wouldn't have been overly concerned because I thought we had addressed the issue. But during that time, they kissed again, this time on a quiet side street. This stings the most because she was much more sober, and I had already voiced my concerns. She admitted she hadn't decided if she would ever confess until Sunday, wondering if she could move on without telling me. But when I pressed her, she couldn't lie anymore. She assured me it wasn't because of any issues in our relationship. She called me perfect, said I was the best thing that ever happened to her, rather out of selfishness. She felt validated by his attention, and she doesn't view herself as desirable. I don't know if her explanation makes me feel better or worse. If there were problems in our relationship, at least we'd have something to work on. But I'm also unsure if I even believe her. She has some unresolved personal issues, which became more apparent as we talked. To her credit, she doesn't use them as an excuse. I told her that whether we try to work things out or not, she needs therapy. I think her unresolved struggles played a big role in her destructive choices. Following more morning, I pushed for more details about their contact since the trip. She admitted they had been texting, exchanging pictures, something she hasn't done with me in years due to her insecurities, and getting to know each other. This felt more like emotional cheating as well. She also confessed to spending the weekend in his hometown under the guise of visiting an old school friend. She couldn't even promise to cut contact with him while we tried to work things out. Thought that if I hadn't confronted her, she might have kept secret and continued seeing him makes me feel sick. We had plans next month to go on a group trip, including him for her birthday. The idea that she could have tried to sneak around with him during that trip fills me with humiliation and anger. I love her and believed she loved me and was genuinely sorry until she refused to commit to cutting contact with him. When I was upset, it seemed to push her to the edge emotionally. She said she's someone who likes to plan and feel in control. She never considered the consequences of her actions and never intended to hurt me. I don't have close friends, and most of my social circle overlaps with hers through a shared university club. She asked if we could remain friends and share the same group if things didn't work out. I told her I didn't know, but wouldn't give up those friends just because of her choices. I spent the last 2 nights at my mom's house. I'm meeting her tonight to talk, but unless she's fully committed to working through this, I can't see us continuing. I doubt she can give that level of commitment. If I can't be with her, I want her to understand the pain she's caused and the consequences of her actions. How things like this will prevent her from having a stable, long-term relationship. Despite my anger and sadness, I want her to be happy. Thanks for the straightforward advice, everyone. When I posted this, I was feeling sorry for myself and holding on to the possibility of fixing things. I now see there's no chance of reconciliation after her refusal to cut contact with him. I'll be ending things tonight. It will be difficult because our apartment lease is in both our names until June/July. Neither of us can afford it alone, but I'll figure it out. If anyone has more advice or suggestions, feel free to share. Update. I ended things with her. There's a lot to sort out with our shared apartment, and I'm glad I've made the decision. Now, I can begin the process of healing.
I'll be honest with you. She doesn't love you. You're acting like a fool, and she knows you won't leave. If she truly cared about you, she wouldn't humiliate you and treat you like a fool, man. Let me tell you how this will end. She'll keep seeing him and pretend it's over and act sorry till the next guy comes along. I've seen too many guys like you stuck in this cycle. She's someone with poor character. All cheaters are. She's not the kind of partner you want to build a future with. If you stay, she'll eventually have kids that might not even be yours. Don't let her issues or struggles drag you down. Don't play the role of a captain trying to save a sinking ship.
All I read here is you trying to justify her actions. Let me help you see this more clearly. You went on a group trip and your girlfriend went into the bathroom of the place you were all staying to hook up with another guy while you were nearby. Then, after the trip, she kept seeing him. The only way she could have disrespected you more is if she had done it right in front of you. Have some self-respect and walk away. There are plenty of women out there who know how to act like grown-ups. Right now, you're with someone who behaves like a selfish child and only thinks about herself. She's doing this while you're around. What do you think happens when you're not? Do you honestly believe this is her first mistake? If you do, you're being incredibly naive.